The day I discovered my sister had lost our parents' entire retirement fund, I was sitting in my office overlooking the Seattle skyline. The news didn't come from my family. They'd never tell me something this important. Instead, it came from Marcus, my financial advisor, who had noticed unusual activity in my parents' investment accounts. "Sarah, your parents' retirement fund has been completely drained," Marcus said, his voice grave through the phone. "Every penny was transferred to a series of high-risk investments under your sister's management. They've lost everything." I gripped my desk, knuckles turning white. "How much?" $2.8 million. Gone in less than 6 months. The number hit me like a physical blow. I thought about my parents, both in their 60s, about to retire after working their whole lives. And Madison, my perfect older sister, the financial genius they trusted with everything. "Send me the details," I said, ending the call. I stared at the Seattle rain pattering against my office window, remembering how different things had been just 15 years ago. Back then, I was the family disappointment, the daughter who chose to study engineering instead of finance, who turned down a position at my father's firm to start my own tech company. Engineering is for people who can't handle real business, Madison had said at one family dinner, earning approving laughs from our parents. "While you're playing with computers, I'll be managing million-dollar portfolios." She'd kept her word about the million-dollar portfolios. She just hadn't mentioned they'd be our parents' life savings. My phone buzzed. Marcus had sent the financial records. With each page I scrolled through, my heart sank further. Madison had convinced our parents to give her complete control of their retirement fund, promising returns that would double their money. Instead, she dumped everything into a cryptocurrency scheme that had collapsed spectacularly. I pulled up my own company's financials. Advanced Dynamics, the tech firm I'd built from scratch, was now worth over $300 million. I could easily help my parents, if they'd let me. I dialed my mother's number, something I rarely did anymore. She answered on the 4th ring, her voice tight with forced cheerfulness. "Sarah? This is unexpected. Mom, I know about the retirement fund." Silence stretched between us, heavy with unspoken words. "That's none of your business," she finally said. "Madison is handling it." I bit back a bitter laugh. Handling it? She lost everything. She made some unfortunate investments, but she's working on fixing it. Besides, how do you even know about this? Because unlike Madison, I actually pay attention to financial markets. "Mom, let me help. I can." "We don't need your help," she cut me off sharply. "Madison has a plan. She's always been good with money, unlike—" She didn't finish the sentence. She didn't need to. "Unlike you," hung in the air between us. "Mom? I have to go. Please don't mention this to anyone. Madison says she can recover the funds if we just give her time." The line went dead. I sat back in my chair, remembering all the times they'd chosen Madison over me. When I got accepted to MIT with a full scholarship, they skipped my acceptance ceremony to attend Madison's small banking award dinner. When I launched my company, they dismissed it as a cute little startup. Meanwhile, they'd bragged about Madison's every promotion, every bonus, every minor achievement. Now she had lost their entire future, and they still trusted her more than me. My office door opened and Lisa, my executive assistant, walked in with concern etched on her face. "Everything okay?" I heard raised voices. I shook my head. My sister lost my parents' retirement fund. All of it. Lisa winced. She'd been with me since the early days of Advanced Dynamics, and knew my family history well. Let me guess, they still think she can fix it? Of course they do. She's Madison, she can do no wrong. Lisa sat down across from me. What are you going to do? I turned to my computer, pulling up property records. My parents' house, my childhood home, was mortgage-free and worth about $1.2 million. If they sold it, they could at least have something for retirement. They'll never sell, Lisa said, reading my thoughts. That house is your father's pride and joy. They might not have a choice. I opened another window, accessing my parents' property tax records. They haven't paid property taxes in 3 months. They're going to lose the house anyway. I made some quick calculations. With their depleted savings and my father's reduced income, he'd recently stepped back to part-time work in preparation for retirement. They couldn't afford the mounting tax bills. The house would go to auction within months. I'm buying it, I said suddenly, anonymously, through one of our shell companies. They'll never know it's me. Lisa raised an eyebrow. And then what? Then I'll let them stay there. Pay the taxes, maintain the property. They can live out their retirement in peace, while Madison takes the credit for saving them again. I smiled, but there was no humor in it. Probably, but at least they'll be okay. As I started making arrangements, my phone lit up with a text from Madison. Stay out of this, little sister. I know you've been asking questions. This is family business, and you're barely family anymore. I stared at the message, feeling that familiar ache of exclusion. Then I straightened my shoulders and began typing emails to my lawyers. Madison might be the golden child, but I had something better than their approval. I had the means to actually help them, even if they never knew it was me. 3 months passed in a blur of legal preparations and careful maneuvering. Through discreet channels, I tracked my parents' financial spiral. Madison kept making promises, each more grandiose than the last. I found new investors, she'd tell them. Just 2 more weeks. But the weeks turned into months, and their savings remained gone. The auction notice arrived on a rainy Tuesday morning. I didn't receive it directly, of course, but my lawyer forwarded me a copy. The Morrison family residence, all 4,200 square feet of my childhood home, would be sold to the highest bidder in exactly 1 month. I was in a board meeting when my mother finally called. Sarah? Her voice wavered, nothing like her usual confident tone. Are you busy? I stepped out of the conference room, signaling to my executives to continue without me. What's wrong? A pause, then a shaky breath. The house? We're losing the house. Madison tried everything, but she broke off, and I heard muffled crying. Mom, I can help. Let me. No. She cut me off, steel returning to her voice. That's not why I'm calling. Madison says she might have a solution, but we need a small loan. Just $50,000 to tide us over until her new investment pays off. I closed my eyes, fighting back frustration. Even now, they were turning to Madison's schemes, rather than accepting my help directly. Mom, her investments aren't real. She's lying to you. How dare you? My mother's voice turned sharp. Your sister is trying to save our home while you've done nothing but criticize. If you won't help with a loan, I don't know why I bothered calling. The line went dead. I stood in the hallway, my reflection in the window showing a woman I'd barely recognized. Gone was the unsure youngest daughter they dismissed. In her place stood the CEO of a major tech company, someone who'd built something real while Madison built castles in the air. That evening, I met with James Chen, my most trusted lawyer, in my home office. "Everything's set," he said, spreading papers across my desk. "Horizon Ventures LLC is officially registered. No connection to you or Advanced Dynamics can be traced." Horizon Ventures was my shell company, created specifically to buy my parents' house. On paper, it was owned by a series of other shell companies, leading to a dead end in the Cayman Islands. "The auction is in 4 weeks," James continued. "Given the market and the distressed nature of the sale, we expect the bidding to start around $800,000. I nodded, pulling up my own research. There will be other bidders. That neighborhood is prime real estate now. We're prepared to go up to $2 million if necessary, though that's well above market value. I don't care about market value. I care about making sure they have a home." The next few weeks were tense. Madison made increasingly desperate attempts to raise money, even trying to convince our parents to take out high-interest loans from dubious lenders. I blocked those attempts through careful behind-the-scenes maneuvering, knowing they'd lead to even more financial disaster. The day before the auction, I received an unexpected visitor at my office. My father stood in the reception area, looking older and more tired than I'd ever seen him. "Sarah," he said quietly, "do you have a minute?" I led into my office, noticing how his eyes widened at the view, the expensive furniture, the clear signs of success he'd never acknowledged. "Nice place," he said, settling into a chair. "You've done well for yourself. What do you need, Dad?" He flinched at my direct tone. "Madison says you've been interfering with her attempts to help us, blocking loans, scaring away investors. Why would you do that to your own family?" I stared at him, incredulous. "Those weren't investors, Dad. They were predatory lenders who would have taken what little you have left. Madison knows what she's doing. She's always been good with money. She lost your entire retirement fund." My voice rose despite my efforts to stay calm. "Every penny you saved, gone on cryptocurrency scams and fake investment schemes. When will you see her for what she is?" My father stood up, his face flushing. "I don't know why we expected you to understand. You've always been jealous of your sister's financial acumen. Well, we don't need your help or your approval. Madison will figure something out. She always does." He stormed out, leaving me alone in my office. I pressed my forehead against the cool glass of the window, watching him get into his luxury car, probably the last remnant of their comfortable life, and soon to be repossessed too. The next morning, I dressed carefully in a plain black pantsuit, nothing like my usual designer office wear. I wore minimal makeup, pulled my hair back severely, and added glasses I didn't need. The woman in the mirror looked nothing like Sarah Morrison, CEO of Advanced Dynamics. The auction was held in a small room at the county courthouse. I sat in the back, a plain manila envelope containing Horizon Ventures documentation on my lap. My parents sat in the front row, Madison beside them, whispering what looked like reassurances. She was dressed expensively as always, keeping up appearances even as everything crumbled. "Next item," the auctioneer announced, "property at 1447 Maple Grove Road. Opening bid $800,000. A few hands went up. Real estate developers mostly, judging by their sharp suits and calculating expressions. The price climbed steadily. 900,000, 950,000, 1 million. Madison kept glancing around frantically. I wondered what last-minute rescue she had promised our parents. 1.2 million, called a developer in the front. My mother's shoulders began to shake. My father put his arm around her, his face ashen. 1.5 million, I said clearly, raising my hand. The other bidders turned to look at me, this plain woman in the back row. 1.6, countered the developer. 1.8, I responded immediately. The room grew quiet. The developer frowned, consulting with his colleague. 1.9 million, he said finally. I didn't hesitate. 2 million. A murmur ran through the room. Even the auctioneer looked surprised. This was well over market value. 2 million going once, going twice. Madison suddenly jumped up. Wait, I have investors on the phone right now. They just need 10 more minutes. Sold. The auctioneer's gavel came down firmly. To Horizon Ventures LLC. I watched my family's faces as I walked to the front to complete the paperwork. None of them gave me a second glance. I was just another faceless buyer taking their home. Madison was still arguing with the auctioneer, waving her phone around uselessly. As I signed the final documents, I heard my mother's quiet sobs. Soon they would receive notice from Horizon Ventures, offering them a lifetime lease at a nominal rate. They would never know their mysterious benefactor was the daughter they dismissed for so long. Or so I thought. I should have known Madison wouldn't let it end there. My sister had always been relentless when her pride was at stake, and losing our parents' house had wounded that pride deeply. A week after the auction, as I sat in my office reviewing quarterly reports, Lisa rushed in without knocking. "Your sister is here," she said, breathless. "With your parents." And, before she could finish, Madison burst through the door, our parents trailing behind her. In her hand, she clutched a stack of papers. "I knew it," she snarled, throwing the papers onto my desk. "Horizon Ventures. Did you think I wouldn't figure it out?" I remained seated, keeping my expression neutral. "Hello, Madison. Mom, Dad. This is unexpected." My mother stepped forward, her eyes darting around my office. "Sarah, what is your sister talking about?" Madison laughed sharply. "Our little sister here is the mysterious buyer. She bought our family home just to humiliate us." I finally stood, straightening papers on my desk with deliberate calm. "And how exactly did you come to that conclusion?" "I traced the ownership," Madison said triumphantly. "Through all your shell companies. It took time, but I found the connection to Advanced Dynamics." I raised an eyebrow. "Did you? Show me." Her confidence wavered slightly. The ownership trail I'd created was bulletproof. She couldn't have traced it. She was bluffing, hoping I'd reveal something. "It doesn't matter how I know," she backpedaled. "What matters is you're trying to make us homeless." Actually, I picked up the stack of papers she'd thrown. "According to this lease agreement from Horizon Ventures, you're being offered a lifetime residence at $100 per month. Hardly homeless." My father stepped forward, his face red. "So you admit you bought our house?" I met his gaze steadily. "Would it matter if I did? You've already decided I'm the villain here." "Because you are," Madison shouted. "I was handling things. I had investors lined up." "You've had nothing." I cut her off, my voice sharp. "No investors, no plans. Nothing but more lies to cover up what you did. You lost their retirement fund, Madison. Every penny they saved." My mother gasped. "Sarah, how dare you speak to your sister that way? She's been working tirelessly." "Has she?" I turned to my computer, pulling up documents on my dual monitors. "Shall we look at exactly what she's been doing?" With a few keystrokes, I displayed the trail of their lost retirement fund. The transfers, the failed investments, the cryptocurrency scams. Here's where she moved the first million into BitConnect. I pointed to the screen. A known Ponzi scheme that collapsed 2 months later. And here's another $500,000 into a fake NFT project. The rest went to various high-yield investment programs, all scams. My parents stared at the screens, their faces draining of color. That's not. Madison stammered. Not what? Not true? I pulled up more documents. Here are your emails to the scammers. Your desperate messages when things started falling apart. Should I continue? The room fell silent except for my mother's shaky breathing. Why are you doing this? Madison whispered, her carefully constructed facade cracking. Because someone has to tell the truth, I said quietly. Someone has to clean up your mess. My father found his voice. If you bought the house, why not just tell us? I laughed, but there was no humor in it. Would you have accepted my help? You spent my entire life believing Madison was the financial genius while I was just playing with computers. Even after I built this company, even after everything I achieved, you still trusted her more. That's not true, my mother protested weakly. Really? I turned to her. When I called to offer help, what did you say? That Madison had a plan. Madison would fix everything. Madison, Madison, Madison. I stood up, walking to the window. The Seattle skyline stretched before us, a testament to what I'd built while they weren't watching. Do you know what Advanced Dynamics is worth now? Over $300 million. I could have replaced their retirement fund 10 times over. But you never asked. You never even wondered how I was doing. Madison stepped forward, her voice taking on a wheedling tone I knew too well. Well, we're asking now, Sarah. If you have that kind of money, surely you can. No. The word cut through the air like a knife. I bought the house because I couldn't bear to see our parents homeless. They'll have a place to live, with reasonable rent they can afford on Social Security. But I'm not giving you any money to gamble away, Madison. We're family, she pleaded. Family? I turned back to face them. Family trusts each other. Family believes in each other. When was the last time any of you believed in me? Silence answered my question. The lease agreement is fair, I continued. The house will be maintained, taxes paid, utilities covered. But there are conditions. I pulled out a document from my desk. Madison cannot live there. She cannot manage any aspect of our parents' finances. And if she attempts any more investment schemes, the lease will be terminated immediately. You can't do this, Madison protested. I can, and I am. I handed the document to my father. Those are the terms. Take them or leave them. My father read through the papers, his hands trembling slightly. My mother peered over his shoulder, her face a mask of conflicting emotions. I've also arranged for a financial advisor, I added, a legitimate one, who will help you budget your Social Security and pension income. You'll be able to live comfortably, if modestly. Madison made one last attempt. Mom, Dad, you can't seriously be considering this. She's trying to control you. My mother looked at her, really looked at her, perhaps for the first time. No, Madison, you did that. We let you do that. She turned to me, tears in her eyes. Sarah, we don't, I said softly. I don't want apologies. I just want you to be okay. My father signed the lease with a shaking hand. Madison stormed out, her heels clicking angrily on the hardwood floor. As my parents prepared to leave, my father paused at the door. Your company, $300 million? I nodded. And all this time, we never. No, I said. You never did. After they left, I sat in my office for a long time, watching the sun set over Seattle. Lisa brought me a coffee and sat quietly beside me. Are you okay? She finally asked. I thought about the years of dismissal, of being the family disappointment. I thought about Madison's schemes and my parents' blind faith in her. I thought about the moment they finally saw the truth. You know what's funny? I said, sipping my coffee. All I ever wanted was for them to believe in me. Now they do, but it doesn't matter anymore. I stopped needing their approval somewhere along the way. Lisa smiled. That's called growing up. Maybe. I turned back to my computer, pulling up project reports. Or maybe it's just learning to believe in yourself when no one else will. Months passed. My parents adjusted to their new life, living modestly but securely in their home. Madison moved to Los Angeles, chasing new schemes that no longer threatened our parents' future. And me. I continued building my company, expanding into new markets, achieving things that would have once desperately craved their recognition for. But I no longer needed their approval. I had something better. I had proven myself right. The family disappointment had become the family savior, even if they'd never see it quite that way. Sometimes, success is its own revenge.